Hi there, it's Michelle Last and welcome to my October technique class where we are using the Wondrous Wreath stamp set, which looks like this, to make this beautiful card. Now I wanted to show you that this stamp set is not just for Christmas, you can use it for other things, and I think it looks lovely in this colour palette, but it can be a birthday card. And I've seen it done in other colour palettes, it looks just as beautiful. I've seen it done in neutrals and pinks and purples, so experiment. Now, no pressure. But when I demoed this card at class this morning, I actually got a round of applause. You are going to love this card and you're not going to be able to stop making them, okay? So basically inside your card pack you've got a Blackberry Bliss card blank, and what you need to do, although I have done it for the ladies that were on the virtual class, is you need to emboss the wood grain effect on the front piece of card. But like I said, I've already done that for you. So ta-da! Blue Peter style, here's mine, embossed. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the wreath. So inside your card pack you have a nice piece of, she says, Whisper White for you to stamp your wreath onto. So it's the big square piece, not the rectangular piece. You've got a rectangular piece and a Hello Honey piece. That's for the inside of the card. Just show you what the inside of mine looked like. I didn't stamp the inside, it's just layered off on the inside. So I might as well do that now. I will layer that on the inside. And put that inside my card. Okay, now what we're going to do is stamp a whole wreath stamp onto this white card, but we're going to create our own ink pad with multiple colours on it. So what I've got is one of the Stampin' Up clear boxes. It can be a deep one like mine is, or it can be the shallow ones. It doesn't matter, but this is the perfect container to contain your new ink pad. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab a couple of sheets of wet wipes that are wet, they are not dry, and I'm just going to fold it in half. So I'm actually going to end up with 4 layers like this. And as long as this surface is bigger than my stamp, we are good to go. Now you're going to need ink refills to create this technique, and what you need to do is you need to press dots all over the wet wipe. So this is one colour and I just use Rich Raspberry. Now I'm going to use Old Olive. I'm not being too precise here. So Rich Raspberry, you can use whatever colours you've got. Obviously I've gone with a bit of an autumnal feel. So a bit of soft suede. And the idea is that you're going to cover this piece of wet wipe and you're not going to have any white gaps. That's really important. White gaps will not actually pick up the stamp, and you'll end up with blank spaces on your stamped image, which you don't want. So we're going all out. What was that one? That's Pumpkin Pie. So I've used soft suede, Old Olive, Rich Raspberry, and now using So Saffron, which is a yellow. They're hard to tell what colours they are when they've been on the wet wipe with the ink refill, but this is a yellow. This is So Saffron. I love this technique because my poor little ink refills are probably one of my least used supplies, so it's nice to be able to use them. Can you see that we're nearly covering the ink pad, but not quite? But I'm going to go start a different colour orange. I've got a Tangerine Tango, which is a more intense orange. Excuse me. I'm going to add a bit more, and then I'm going to add a bit more purple, I think. So I'm going to go with Elegant Eggplant, and I'm going to try and fill the gaps. I'm squeezing the bottle as I go, and I'm filling in the gaps if I see gaps. Do you remember, gaps are not our friends? Heard this in Sandy McIver's video where I got the inspiration and the technique from. There. Okay, so we've created our own ink pad. Now, as long as it is a bigger area than our stamp, what we're going to do is we are going to stamp it in our ink pad. Can you see the pretty colours? Take it to our Whisper White and we're going to press it down. And do you remember we've got the little tab at the top? I'm going to try and tip it. I'm not sure if I picked up any ink, and if I didn't, wow, I'm going to make a little mark, but I did pick up some ink. So we've got our lovely autumnal colours here. It will look different every time you do it. So now if I wanted to, if I get a bit of Whisper White, let me just grab another bit of Whisper White and do another one. You can keep using that ink pad. I'd recommend, you'll know when it isn't working. The colours are bright at the moment, it looks really lovely. I'll do another one. If I do it in a slightly different position and turn the stamp, get it nicely inked up, and then do it again. As you keep doing it, the colours will meld into one another and they'll become a bit of a mush. And I would say they get a bit browny. That's when you need to clean your stamp, and that's when you need to get a new wet wipe, a new ink refills. Really wants to stick to that. So I'm holding it down, and that's another one. So you just keep making them, and each one will be slightly different every time. Then what you're going to do is you're going to cut around that wreath, which I'm just going to do right now. Grab my magnetic platform. I'll show you how to cut it, just in case you haven't seen the other videos. Now, I didn't get my little tab going on here, but luckily for me, I positioned it so that was the top, okay? So you're going to lay that down, you're going to get your framelit dies, which cut out the wreath, and you will see they've both got a little tab at the top. That's to tell you that's to go at the top, and what you'll find is very quickly, because you're using the tab, you should be able to line it up because you know that's the top of your wreath. And you'll know when it's right, it just feels and fits perfectly. And can you see this little bit of white space here? That is where this little bit will line up. Can you see that? So if I, again, I've got the top, I lay it down. Now what, if I was doing that and I can see ink on the inside, it's not lined up correctly. So you want to make sure that there's no ink showing on the middle section. Then line your plate up, run it through your Big Shot. And then you will have a beautiful, lovely cut out autumn wreath for the front of your card. Now I need to cut this one out, but that means I would have cut out two, and I don't need that to show you, so I'm going to leave that for a moment. So we now need to find our card front, and what I did is I did raise my wreath up on dimensionals, so add some dimensionals on the back and stick it, oops, dropped it on the floor, stick it onto your card front. At this point it doesn't matter which way up you stick it down. So I'm going to just position it like so on the front of my card. Now to finish off we just need to create the, let me show you the original one. We need to just stick some flowers on, do the birthday wishes and create a little bow. So I'm going to show you how I did the sentiment. On your piece of card it is already cut and scored for you, and it will create this little banner shape, okay? So what you need to do is stamp your birthday wishes. I used the For You stamp set here, and I used the birthday wishes. And I've stamped that in Old Olive. So let me find my Old Olive. That's Pear Pizzazz. I'm going to use Pear Pizzazz because it's to hand. Now you could try positioning that onto your piece of card, but I guarantee you it will be quite difficult. So I'd recommend you use the Stamp-A-Majig. I'll show you how to use the Stamp-A-Majig. I do have videos on showing you how to use the Stamp-A-Majig, so I'm not going to go through it step by step, but at least by watching me do it, you will see how I've done it. and then it might remind you. I've got my image on my plastic sheet. I'm going to line that image up in between my 2 scored lines and straight. I'm going to put my T-square back on, ink up, straight down and straight up. So there's my birthday wishes. Then what I would like you to do is to cut the little flags in the end. So if you just cut up the centre and then come from the edge to the centre point on both sides, you should end up with a nice even little flag on the end there. Let's just get my flags going. And then what I want you to do is I want you to bend your card so you've got the banner shape like that. And then I want you to put glue on these, just these end pieces only, so that when you stick it down, you can stick them and hold them. It kind of makes the birthday wishes bow up slightly, if you want a 3D effect. So just a little bit of glue here and here. And think about where you want the birthday wishes to go. Whoops. I'm going to try and tuck that under the wreath slightly. And if I can't, then I'm going to try and stick it on top of the wreath, which is what I'm now going to do. Hang on a second. So when I do that, can you see it wants to pop up, which is the effect that I'm going for. So if I press it down and lay it flat, then once the edge pieces have stuck, I've got a bit of raised dimension to this centre section. Okay, lovely. And then you've got some card inside your card pack, and that is for, and some candy dots, that's for your flower punch. So I've used the itty bitty flower shape, and I'm going to punch out 2 flowers. And I'm going to punch out 3 plain in the Hello Honey, like that. If you want to be really fancy, you can get a mouse mat or something like that, or a sponge foam pad, which I know I've got somewhere. If I've got my mouse mat, you lay it down on your mouse mat and then just find a pen or something pointy and just press down. You'll get some flowers with a little bit of dimension, which look really nice, and it also helps to know where to stick your little candy dot in the middle. There we go. So we've got our flowers with a bit of raised petals. Now I can, whoa, I've got a bit of a glue emergency. It's okay, let's use this glue. I'm going to stick my flowers down on my wreath. Try not to be too, space them out perfectly even. It looks a little bit too contrived. So if I do that, better put the glue back on, lid back on the glue, hadn't I? And then pick up your candy dots. There's something sharp underneath. They've got sticky on the back. You can put that in the middle of your flowers. And then, way, your card is nearly done. Well, my card is nearly done, I should say. It's a nice feeling. And, hang on. Get one tip underneath the candy dot. I think it really likes both parts of the scissors going underneath, which makes it ping up. So there we can add our flowers and add a bit of dimension. And then lastly we've got our bit of Hello Honey ribbon, and I've got my fork. I've also got a video on my YouTube channel to show you how to make a fork bow. Very quickly, lay your ribbon over the top of the fork. Get the underneath piece of ribbon over the top piece of ribbon and through the middle base prong of the fork. Sorry, if I show you that again. Can you see that? So I've gone over the top and through the middle of the fork. Pull it tight and then come up through the top middle part of the fork there and lay it down, tie it in a really, really tight knot. So I'm going to now go super hard like that, and then when I slide it off my fork, I've got a beautiful, perfect size little bow. Please forgive me, I'm not using my ribbon scissors. Tusk. And then I need to just stick that just here, or just here if I wish, whatever I wish, and stick that on the front. I'm going to stick it here, but I need a glue dot. I'm going to stick that on the front of my card. So that's it. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope you've enjoyed making the cards, and I really hope you come and visit me at another technique class really soon. Thanks very much. Have a great day. Bye.